Buddy Murphy is bloody great. Becky Lynch aside, no other WWE wrestler did more to grab the brass ring in 2018. The Australian's outstanding work ethic resulted in major improvement across the board, and he's now light years beyond the performer that cut his teeth teaming with Wesley Blake in NXT. He looked like a prime candidate for release 12 months ago, but Buddy's now among WWE's most consistent wrestlers, with a string of outstanding pay-per-view performances bringing his top TV form to a bigger stage. His nickname, the Best Kept Secret, used to be one of wrestling's most appropriate, but now everybody knows that Murphy is one of the best in the company, making it impossible to even consider him any kind of secret anymore, as neglected as 205 Live might be. Modern wrestling is so impossibly vast that countless great wrestlers, promotions, matches, and in some cases entire scenes don't get the attention they deserve. So it's time to shine a light on them. Though their obscurity level varies, each of the entries within should absolutely be on the radar of anyone who considers themselves ahead of the curve, even if some of them are a long way from peaking. I'm Andy for WhatCulture Wrestling, and here are the 10 best kept secrets in wrestling today. Number 10. Zach Gibson. British wrestling devotees should already know of Zach Gibson's quality, but that WWE are yet to present him on the level of a Pete Dunne or Tyler Bate means he still flies under the radar for many. Gibson is, without a sliver of hyperbole, one of the most effective talkers in the sport. His ability to turn any room into a cauldron of bile and venom is second to none in the UK, and it has seen him become a near-perfect heel. For evidence of this, see the typically searing promo he cut on NXT UK's 24th of October episode, during which Liverpool's number one literally shouted himself hoarse just so that he could be heard over the baying Cambridge crowd. His formula works every single time. As soon as Gibson draws out his first soon-to-be-recognised, audiences are flinging hatred ringwards, with Zach's villainy ensuring they're glued to the ring by the time the bell goes. And when it does, he's a domineering technician grinding away at his opponent's resolve ahead of his feared Shankly Gates submission. Number 9. Humberto Carrillo. Having quietly debuted in NXT last year, the former Ultimo Ninja has found a niche as WWE's answer to Usain Bolt. He is the king of the sprint, and by that, I mean a short, sharp 3 to 5 minute match worked at 100 miles an hour with no lulls in action, coursing on pure adrenaline from start to finish. Carrillo embodies everything that TV wrestling should be in 2019, with his high-flying, athletic offense and no-rest-hold style guaranteeing excitement every time he steps through the ropes, no matter who he's facing. It speaks volumes that WWE shifted him onto the 205 Live roster just a few months after signing, and Carrillo has already wrestled bangers with the likes of Buddy Murphy and Johnny Gargano in 2019. His Worlds Collide tournament was a lot of fun as well, and he looks set to become one of WWE's foremost adrenaline merchants for the coming years. Number 8. Akira Tazawa. The most neglected wrestler on WWE's most neglected brand, Akira Tazawa is grossly underutilized in his current role as a cruiserweight spot filler. Tazawa has only flirted with success since joining WWE. A 2017 Cruiserweight title run ended after just 6 days, as Akira and fellow Dragon Gate alumnus Neville traded the belt back and forth within a week. He has re-entered title contention since then, but he's still very much just a guy on Buddy Murphy's roster. Tazawa is rotting. He's a fierce, fiery babyface on his day, and a man of palpable physical charisma. These qualities are complemented by immense in-ring skill as well, and far from a spot monkey, he's smooth, fluid, fast, and impactful. But sadly, he rarely even gets to showcase these traits on WWE television or even house shows, with 205 Live's non-existent touring schedule meaning Tazawa only ever wrestles once or twice a month. As engaging as anyone else on the roster not named Buddy Murphy, Tazawa's only barrier is a lack of spoken English, but that this should hold a wrestler back in a work rate-centric brand in 2019 is kind of ridiculous. Number 7. Oriental Wrestling Entertainment. Dragon Gate stalwart CIMA rocked the promotion with his 2018 departure. The group's biggest star walked out with prospects El Lindemann, Takehiro Yamamura and T-Hawk in tow. But while that company has somewhat recovered with Pac as Open the Dreamgate champion, business really did look rough for a while. CIMA is now building something almost from scratch. He is spearheading the young OWE organization with the goal of creating a Chinese wrestling powerhouse. Now, he doesn't own or operate the company, but he is a guiding presence, and his experience is already proving vital. To watch OWE is to experience something completely unique. Their roster's complexion is something else, with dancers rubbing shoulders with US imports and Shaolin Kung Fu trained natives, melding acrobatic flippy-doos with Kung Fu displays and musical performances. It's a real breath of fresh air, and with OWE now running weekly YouTube shows and establishing a working relationship with AEW, their profile is sure to increase in 2019. Number 6, Danny Birch and Oney Larkin. Personally, I love these guys, and not just because I look like both of them simultaneously. It's because they're just bloody great. For evidence, check their performance at TakeOver Chicago 2 last year. Their blistering encounter with Kyle O'Reilly and Roderick Strong was worked at 100 miles an hour, and our follically challenged duo emptied their tanks, barely taking a moment to breathe throughout 16 minutes of reckless brilliance. Such matches epitomize what makes Birch and Larkin great. They're a shot of adrenaline, a couple of fast, furious Energizer bunnies in wrestler form, dead set on killing it and themselves every time they step between the ropes. A recent NXT TV encounter with Fabian Eichner and Marcel Bartel saw them cram more into 4 minutes than most teams can, with 5 times that. There isn't an ounce of flab to anything they do, and that's incredibly refreshing at a time when Developmental's house style has never been so theatrical. Their lack of flashiness and polish will hinder Birch and Larkin on the main roster, but the work rate gods demand a big NXT push for these two tag team dynamos. Number 5, the New Japan Young Lions. New Japan undercards are flabby. As riveting as much of the product is, their cards are regularly padded out with skippable matches that literally nobody needs to watch. Now, whether or not this is a problem is up to the viewer to decide. One might argue that this slow build approach aids in escalating drama throughout a show, but on the other hand, it's easy to see why so many people fast forward to the more important stuff. Do so, however, and you risk missing the most exciting crop of up-and-coming wrestlers on the planet. NJPW's pre-excursion Young Lions work with unmatched vigor. These black-clad trainees work themselves to the point of exhaustion every single time, even if they're only in the ring for 5 minutes. Restricted in runtime and what they're allowed to do between the ropes, they nonetheless compete like they're fighting for their lives, squeezing everything out of their limited spotlight. Guys like Shota Umino, Ren Narita, and Yuya Uemura are among NJPW's hungriest athletes. Their matches are so much fun, so skip them at your peril. Number 4, the Australian Indies. With the British and European Indies bursting into the global wrestling consciousness over the past few years, the growing Australian and New Zealand scene has been pinpointed as the next to blow up. Those with their fingers on the pulse have been saying it for ages, and now, finally, we're seeing it come to fruition. Promotions like MCW and PWA are killing it, and the world is starting to take notice. Progress and New Japan both hit Australia for collaborative tours last year. Will Ospreay, the world's foremost high flyer, visits the continent regularly, with his tours yielding match of the year caliber bouts, alongside guys like Robbie Eagles, who, if you didn't know, recently joined Bullet Club in Japan. Guys like Eagles and Adam Brooks are seeing their American and European schedules get busier by the month, not only increasing their own individual spotlights, but bringing new fans back to their home promotions in the process. Now, it'll take a while to get there, but if you want to get in on the ground floor with wrestling's next cool thing, do it now. Get on the bandwagon or get ran over. Number 3, Chad Gable. How do you call a regular performer on WWE's flagship television show any kind of secret, let alone best kept? Well, by acknowledging that on a skill to spotlight ratio, Chad Gable is one of the most marginalized wrestlers in the company's impossibly vast talent pool, and a real hidden gem who deserves more than his role as a mid-card treasure. Gable's enthusiasm and skill are as infectious as his in-ring ability is prodigious. The guy whose boundless energy energy got Jason Jordan over in 2015 is now saving the not-so-glorious Bobby Roode from oblivion in 2019, though Vince McMahon's deep-rooted hatred for all things tag wrestling is a formidable glass ceiling. Nonetheless, Gable is regularly the best part of every single thing he takes part in, but may now be in danger of becoming Heath Slater 2.0, with his endearing value as an entertainer never getting the props it deserves. We're not calling for him to be promoted to the main event scene, but there should be a role for Gable somewhere on the upper mid-card. Please, oh wrestling gods, find a way to make it happen. Number 2, AAW, not AEW. The US Indies have lost much hype to the European surge over the past few years. Groups like Progress and OTT are the new hotness, and while companies like PWG still have a certain degree of buzz, countless others are languishing. Even Evolve's working relationship with WWE can't buy them a dollop of hype, no matter how many Performance Center prospects they put belts on. With big names like Rey Fenix, Sami Callihan, David Starr, and Pentagon frequenting their shows, along with fast-rising commodities like Trey Miguel and Myron Reed, AEW do indie-rific dream exhibitions as well as anyone, including PWG. But there's more than that when it comes to their appeal. Unlike PWG, this company actually tells stories and typically run a couple of shows each month, giving them plenty of scope to craft rewarding in-ring programs to complement their state-of-the-art in-ring action. Quick uploads make AAWs one of the best value video-in-demand services in the game. They're as accessible as indie wrestling gets, and if you want to tap into the beating heart of today's American scene, the $7.99 a month is well worth it. Number 1, Lucha Libre. Getting into Lucha Libre can be tough. While countless media resources report on Puro Resu extensively, only a handful go anywhere near the Mexican scene, and even then, coverage rarely extends beyond CMLL and AAA. The language barrier is an obvious issue. Stylistically, it's almost alien to non-Mexican fans, with its myriad of unclear rules baffling many a newcomer. Promotions book for working-class Mexicans, not star-rating fetishists like us, and the list goes on. This helps us to understand why Lucha is nowhere near as revered by foreigners as the modern New Japan product, but when you think about it, it's still kind of nuts. If we're going to use numbers as a metric, CMLL is almost the second biggest promotion in the world. They run free shows in the 16,500-seater Arena Mexico every single week, and yet the product gets next to no attention from the English-speaking world. CMLL deliver the big theater spectacle. AAA splice white-hot undercard action with so bad it's good Russo-esque booking. The scene is a treasure trove, and those with the balls to dive into it will be rewarded handsomely. Tired of being fannied around by WWE? Jaded with New Japan's dramatic epics? Check out what guys like Volador Jr., Hechicero, Barbaro Cavernario, and the NGD are doing on a weekly basis. You won't regret it.